All right, so we're diving into a huge college basketball matchup. Everyone's talking about it. The Auburn Tigers, #1 in the country, are going up against the #7 Alabama Crimson Tide. This is not just any other regular season game.
No, not at all. You hit the nail on the head there. It's going to be interesting to see how this game impacts the NCAA tournament seeding. I mean, we could even be talking about the top overall seed being decided.
Exactly, and to make things even spicier, their first matchup was a close one. Auburn barely pulled out a win, 94-85, so you know this rematch is going to be electric.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But if you look at how they've been playing lately, Alabama's actually on a 2-game losing streak, and they've lost 4 out of their last 6.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't sound like they're coming in too hot.
Right. But you have to consider their opponents. They've been playing some of the toughest teams in the nation. And a win against Auburn, that could really help them secure a #2 seed in the NCAA tournament.
High stakes for Alabama then. But let's be real, they're going to need their senior guard, Mark Sears, to really step up. He didn't have the best game against Auburn last time.
It's true, yeah. He scored 18 points, which isn't terrible, but his shooting percentage was just way off, especially from the three-point line.
Yeah, that's a problem. So is there any hope for Alabama? Can Sears turn it around?
Well, the good news for Alabama fans is that Sears has been looking a lot better in recent games. His three-point shooting has really improved. If he can keep that up and play with confidence against Auburn, it'll definitely boost Alabama's chances.
Right, okay. Now let's switch over to the other side. Auburn has been completely dominant this season, 27 wins and only 3 losses. They're almost guaranteed a #1 seed in the tournament at this point.
They have been impressive. You got to give them that.
Yeah.
But, and I don't know if this is a big deal or not, but their star player, Johnny Broome, he's a possible Wooden Award winner.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, he's actually had 2 back-to-back games with only single-digit scoring.
Whoa, that's unexpected for a player like Broome. Is this a sign that the pressure's getting to Auburn? Or are they just, I don't know, maybe they're just coasting a little?
It could be the pressure, yeah. But one thing Auburn has going for them is their depth. They've got guys like Chad Baker-Mazara and Miles Kelly who can step up and deliver if Broome's having an off night.
So even with Broome maybe not playing his best, Auburn's still a huge threat because of their well-rounded team.
100%. It makes them really tough to beat because it's not just one guy carrying the entire team.
So this is shaping up to be an incredible game, and we've just scratched the surface here. Before we go any deeper, I want to remind everybody listening, if you're enjoying this deep dive, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the show. We've got a lot more to talk about with this matchup.
Now, when you think about how these teams are going to approach this game, it's fascinating. Like Alabama, they've really got to find a way to shut down Auburn's bench.
Yeah, for sure. Auburn's depth is a big advantage. If Alabama can keep those bench players from having a big impact, it could really change the game.
Absolutely. And then you look at Auburn, they need to make sure Mark Sears doesn't catch fire from three-point range. If he starts hitting those shots early on, it's going to be a tough night for Auburn.
Speaking of Mark Sears, I remember watching a game earlier this season where he just took over, I think it was against Kentucky, and he hit this incredible game-winning shot right at the buzzer. The guy can be clutch.
Oh, yeah. He definitely has that potential to take over a game. That's what makes this matchup so interesting, right? It's like a chess match. Both these teams are talented, but it's going to come down to adjustments and how they respond to each other. So what do you think? How do you see it playing out on the court? Can Alabama really overcome their recent struggles and pull off an upset against the top-ranked team? Or will Auburn's depth and talent just be too much to handle?
Man, that's a tough one. I have a feeling this is going to be a nail-biter.
Oh, without a doubt.
It's all going down this Saturday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time at Neville Arena in Auburn, Alabama. And you can catch it on ESPN.
Mark your calendars, folks. This is a must-watch game.
For sure, a battle for SEC supremacy, and it could really shake things up for the NCAA tournament. Speaking of the tournament, let's talk about what a win or loss could mean for each team's seeding.
Okay, so for Alabama, a win would be huge. It would snap their losing streak, of course, but it would also give them a big win against the #1 team in the country. That would look really good on their resume, and it could bump them up to a 2 seed.
Okay, but what if they lose? Would that be a big setback for them?
Not necessarily. They've had a really tough schedule, and the selection committee takes that into account. Even with a loss, they're still pretty much guaranteed a spot in the tournament. They might end up as a 3 or 4 seed, but they'll be in there.
All right, that makes sense. Now let's talk about Auburn. What does a win or loss mean for their seeding?
For Auburn, a win basically locks them in as the #1 overall seed. They've been dominant all season, and beating a top 10 team like Alabama just makes their case even stronger.
And a loss. Could they lose that top spot?
It's possible, but I'd say it's unlikely. They're leading the SEC standings by a pretty good margin, and their overall performance this season is hard to ignore. A loss might drop them to a 2 seed, but they're still in a great position going into the tournament.
So it sounds like both Alabama and Auburn are in pretty good shape for the NCAA tournament no matter what happens in this game. But a win here would definitely be a big momentum boost for either team.
Absolutely. And, besides the seeding, this game is about pride, it's about rivalry, it's about proving who's the best in the SEC.
Yeah, true. It's going to be exciting to watch. And speaking of exciting, I just wanted to remind everyone listening, if you're enjoying this deep dive, make sure to like and subscribe. We love bringing you these in-depth analyses. Your support helps us keep going, helps us reach more people. All right, let's get back to this Auburn-Alabama showdown. So we've talked about the big names, Sears and Broome, but are there any other players we should keep an eye on?
Oh, there are a few. For Alabama, I'd say watch out for Jaron Stevenson. He's a freshman forward, and he's been putting up some big numbers. He's averaging a double-double.
Wow, a double-double as a freshman. That's pretty impressive. How about Auburn? Anyone else besides Broome who could make a difference in this game?
Well, like we said, Auburn's got a lot of depth, but one guy who could really change the game is Wendell Green Jr. He's a senior guard, really dynamic, can score a lot of points, and create opportunities for his teammates.
So we could have a battle of the big men down low with Broome and Stevenson, and then a clash of the guards with Sears and Green. Man, this game's going to have everything.
It's going to be a good one, no doubt. And like we've been saying, the result could have a big impact on the SEC and the NCAA tournament.
This game really shows you just how competitive college basketball is right now.
Yeah, the SEC is definitely one of the toughest conferences, maybe even the toughest in the country this year. You've got a bunch of teams ranked in the top 10, and honestly, on any given night, anyone can beat anyone.
That's what makes college basketball so great. It's unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. And this Auburn-Alabama game is the perfect example of that.
Yeah, it really does capture what makes college basketball so exciting, a clash of titans, a battle for the top spot, and who knows, maybe we're even getting a sneak peek at what we might see in the NCAA tournament.
Speaking of the tournament, you were saying how the outcome of this game could affect seeding. Could you break that down a bit more? Like, how does that actually work?
Well, so the NCAA tournament uses this seeding system to rank the teams, right? It's based on their regular season performance. They take the top 68 teams and then put them into this bracket. And the idea is the higher ranked teams have an easier path to the championship, at least in theory.
So basically, if you get a higher seed, you have a better chance of going further in the tournament.
Exactly, yeah. And that's why this game is so important for both Alabama and Auburn. Winning means a higher seed, and a higher seed could mean a longer run in March Madness.
Gotcha, that makes sense. Well, I'm even more excited about this game now.
Me too, for sure. It's going to be one you don't want to miss. And, this is just one game in a long rivalry between these two programs. I mean, no matter who wins on Saturday, we know this isn't the last time we'll see these two teams going at it.
That's what I love about college basketball.
Yeah.
The history, the passion, the traditions, it all comes together in a game like this. So to all our listeners out there, make sure you mark your calendars for this Saturday, grab some snacks, settle in, and get ready for an epic battle between two of the best teams in the country. You don't want to miss it.
Agreed. All right, before we go, let's leave everyone with a little something to think about. We've talked about all the key players, the strategies, the whole 9 yards, but what do you think? What's going to be the deciding factor in this game? Can Mark Sears redeem himself and lead Alabama to victory? Or will Auburn's depth and resilience just be too much for Alabama to handle?
Tough question. Both teams have the potential to win this thing. Guess we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out on the court. And to our listeners, we want to hear from you. Head over to our social media and let us know who you think is going to come out on top. And hey, if you like this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe for more awesome content just like this. Until next time, keep diving deep.